Look at that cheesy pull. All right, I've got another victim here to try my food. That was super ladylike, y'all. It really does give me the Philly cheesesteak vibes. Hey y'all, hey, Erica with TimetoShrink. Welcome to another What's for Dinner. This week, everything we're having for dinner is coming from my fridge, pantry, or freezer. Not doing any grocery shopping this week. I'm trying to do that once a month moving forward. So we're gonna get some Crockpot meals in, and I think the majority of the meals are gonna be beef-based because that's what I have. I think it's gonna be a really fun show, so stick around and let's see what we come up with. All right, y'all, I have this Angus chuck steak, and I am going to throw it in the slow cooker. Usually I sear it on both sides first, but I just don't have the time. So we're going to go in with a packet of French onion soup mix, a packet of beef broth, and a packet of cream of mushroom, and then we're going to add about 2 cups of water, and we're just going to let it go all day. So I just plopped it down in the bottom of the crock pot, and I put this French onion soup mix over the top of it, and then I'm going to place a whole stick of butter on top of that. And then I've got my beef broth and cream of mushroom with the 2 cups of water. We're just putting that over the top, and that is it, y'all. We are just going to let it go all day. We're going to be gone all day. This is going to be perfect. All right, after I let this go for about 2 hours on high, I put it on low for 6 hours, and it's got like 2 hours left. I just checked on it, and it's tearing apart really, really well, so I'm just gonna let it keep going until everybody gets home tonight. So I strained out all of the broth and left most of the fat, and then I'm putting it on the stove here, and I put in about 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. I'm gonna bring this up to a boil and melt the cream cheese and kind of let it reduce down a little bit and kind of like it make a gravy, and then I might add a little bit of xanthan gum or glucomannan if I need to thicken it a little bit more. And then we have all of our beef here. It's quite a bit. This is a pretty big container. I added 1 tablespoon of heavy cream, and I added 1/4 of a teaspoon of glucomannan, and I'm just stirring this and letting it thicken up. You can kind of see how it's showing through at the bottom like that, how it's starting to thicken up. Gravy to serve over the stew meat. I did add a good amount of pepper. We like pepper in our gravy, and this is going to be yummy. I made a big bowl of rice so the kids can do rice and beef and put this over top. Here's one of the kids' plates. This was delicious. Everybody absolutely loved it. For dinner tonight, we're going to make Philly cheesesteak style in the crock pot. So I've got my peppers and onions blend. I've got my really thinly sliced chuck steak. I've got some Worcestershire sauce, salt, pepper, and a little bit of barbecue seasoning. I would use Grill Masters, but I think that I am completely out. So we're gonna go with this Rosy Cheeks barbecue. This would not be my first choice. It's delicious, but I would do more like a Montreal steak seasoning or a grill seasoning, a hamburger seasoning, but this is what I have left, so this is what we're gonna go with. We're gonna season this really, really well, and then we're going to put it into our crock pot in layers. This on low for 6 hours. I'll probably check it at 4. With the Philly cheesesteak, I'm going to make my queso. It's actually not my queso. I'm going to make queso. It's Nicole Burgess's queso, but instead of putting in the green chilies, I'm going to leave them out, so it's just a cheese sauce to go with the Philly cheesesteaks. And then after we're done eating that, I'll add in my green chilies. I'm not going to give you a recipe for this because this is straight from Nicole Burgess. I will link her video where she makes this down below. She is famous for it. You could probably just Google Nicole Burgess queso and find it, but I will try and remember to link it down below. But I am making a massive portion of it. I almost always double the recipe because my kids go through this like crazy. I make it probably at least twice a month, but I'm going to make this to go with the Philly cheesesteaks, and these should be done. They smell really good. They look really good. Let's see. Yeah, it's super nice and tender. I think this is going to be really, really good. You could consider this more like a French dip sandwich if you didn't have the peppers in it and go a different direction with the flavoring. But we went the Philly cheesesteak direction. So I'm going to serve it on big hoagie rolls with liquid American cheese, basically, which is how they serve. I don't know. I'm not from Philly. I don't know the correct terminology. My husband would kill me if I said it wrong, so I won't say it wrong. He's from Pennsylvania and knows a lot more about Philly cheesesteaks than me. But I've never made it in the crock pot, and I think this turned out really, really well, y'all. So I'm going to just go ahead and turn this to warm and just let them stay until everybody's ready to eat. And then Nicole makes her queso in a crock pot, which would totally work, but I'm usually in more of a hurry when I'm making it. So I just make it on the stovetop. I stir it every once in a while, and then when it's completely liquid, I add my almond milk in, or regular milk, or whatever kind of liquid you want to add in to thin it out some. But I just do it over a kind of low and just stir it every once in a while until it's done, but you can totally make this in a crock pot. Alright y'all, I am going to build my Philly cheesesteak sandwich. I have a piece of toast. This is a keto piece of toast that I got. I think it's Sara Lee's keto toast. It's 45 calories and 6 net carbs. And I'm going to use this to give myself like an open-faced Philly cheesesteak. So here is the yummy, yummy meat that has been cooking all day. We've got our onions and our peppers, the really thinly sliced steak. Now I'm going to take my American cheese sauce and we are going to make a mess. We're going to drizzle that all over. This is an American cheese sauce made with white American cheese and cream cheese and butter and a little bit of milk. It is delicious, and I am going to serve my Philly cheesesteak open face. It's going to be delicious. Let's taste it. There we go. Maybe. This is a really big bite. Let's see how this tastes. That was super ladylike, y'all. That is delicious. It really does give me the Philly cheesesteak vibes. I think my family is gonna love this. I did buy just these regular buns for my family, like hoagie rolls, but having this open face on a piece of keto toast, this is worth every bite, y'all. Yum. All right, Jackson, I'm gonna show them the sandwich and then we'll see. This is gonna be messy, but yummy. Philly cheesesteaks are always messy though. All right, let's see what you think. Big giant bite. All right, I've got another victim here to try my food. I don't know why I said victim. This is an easy yes, I think. I think they're both gonna love it.
Great.
Is that good? You like it with the cheese?
Yeah.
What is this called? Like a Philadelphia cheesesteak with cheese? Isn't there like a way you say it?
With whiz.
With whiz?
Yeah.
So, this is my version of making the cheese whiz that goes on it, I guess. Good? All right. So, yeah, y'all, this is really, really good. If you do it open-faced, you could even use some of that juice that's in there. And I know I made it with the French onion, the Campbell's French onion, because that was the broth that I had. Normally, I would just make it with a regular good quality bone broth, and it would be just as good, but I wanted to use that up. This is delicious. I think they'll go through this pretty fast. And then, like I said, this American cheese sauce. For Philly cheesesteaks, I think it's supposed to be the orange American cheese, and they call it like Cheese Whiz or something, but this was as close as I could get in South Carolina. Tonight for dinner, it could not get any simpler. I thawed some of my homemade marinara, and I grabbed this beef meatballs with prime rib, and these are 3 carbs for 6. So, or 7 meatballs. 3 carbs for 7 meatballs, so not that bad. Mainly I'm making this for the kids though, but I could eat it. I'm gonna be out of town this evening, so I'm gonna throw this in here on low and just let the kids have this, and they can make their own pasta to put over it, and it's gonna work. Editing
morning, Erica. I'm just jumping in here because I lost a little bit of footage, or maybe I missed it, but the meatballs, they ended up having them like meatball sandwiches instead of doing any kind of pasta because they had some of those hoagie rolls left still. So they had meatball sandwiches. They put provolone cheese with the meatballs and the sauce and really enjoyed it. When Jason and I got home from out of town, he had that same thing for dinner. They all really enjoyed it. It was great. I had leftovers from the night before and they all really enjoyed that. Super, super, I don't think it gets any easier meal. And if you're doing keto, you could totally serve it over zoodles. You could serve it open-faced over a piece of keto bread, any of those kind of things, and make it perfectly keto. Tonight for dinner, we are going to make a Philly cheesesteak style meatloaf. I'm still feeling the Philly cheesesteak vibe, so we're gonna make a Philly cheesesteak meatloaf. I've got 2 pounds of ground beef, half a cup of heavy cream, 1 full cup of my keto breadcrumbs. These are in my cookbook, but basically it's pork rinds and nutritional yeast and Parmesan cheese mixed together. I've got, well, I was planning on doing 2 eggs, but I got 2 yolks out of this 1 egg, so we're going to go with that. And then we are going to also use some provolone cheese. And we've got over here some veggies going. This is just a pack of frozen veggies, and I'm just kind of cooking them down, and then I'm going to let them cool before we form our meatloaf. And in the meatloaf, we are going to use Grill Master seasoning, which is like a hamburger type seasoning, some Italian seasoning, some Worcestershire sauce, and salt and pepper for our flavoring. So this is just going to be really nice, quick, and simple. So for my meatloaf, I'm using 2 pounds. I usually use a meatloaf mix, so this is just ground beef and some milk and some keto crumbs, 2 eggs, and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. This is going to be Philly cheesesteak style, so I am using the Grill Master seasoning. That's like a hamburger type seasoning, and some Italian seasoning, and then a good amount of pepper. Also added just a touch of salt, not too much salt. And then you're going to mix this together till thoroughly combined. You do not want to over mix it, or meatloaf can become tough. So as soon as I get it mixed to what I want, I'm spreading it out on a lined piece of parchment, what is the word, tin foil, into a rectangle, and then we're going to line the inside with Philly cheesesteak stuff. So this is provolone cheese, a good amount of provolone cheese, and then we're going to take those vegetables that we had cooked and then cooled and line them around the middle, and then we're going to use our foil to help us roll this up, kind of like jelly roll style, and we're going to crimp it and then flip it over so that everything is completely covered and we're not going to have anything leaking out. Now I'm just topping it with a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. That is such a hard word to say. And then we're going to put it in a 350-degree oven. This is going to take a good 50 minutes or so. About 40 minutes in, we're going to put some topping on it. But in the meantime, I'm going to make some taco meat. I always use Smoky Southwest seasoning from Fresh Jacks. And then when I'm doing my taco meat, I also add some tomato paste and cook it out, and then about half a cup of water, and I simmer that until all of the liquid is gone, and it makes a really nice moist taco meat. I wanted to have that prepped this week for the kids, something easy for them to grab and make, and we had some leftover queso, so that's going to work really well. Now we're going to make the topping. This is basically, we're making our own ketchup. It's 3 ounces of tomato paste, a little bit of allulose sweetener, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and then some water just to thin it out. And we're just going to paint this on the top of our meatloaf. It's been in about 40 minutes. I'm going to paint this, put it back in for another 10 minutes, and then I broil it for 5 minutes before we eat. That's all. Here is our meatloaf. It looks so good. Definitely got some cheese running out the side here a little bit. That always happens, but not too bad. I'm going to let it cool for a good 10-15 minutes before we slice into it, and then we'll be ready to have some delicious meatloaf. I am going to make a mashed cauliflower to go with this. I make it in my blender. I've shared this multiple times, so we're just going to go over it real quickly, but I cook a bag of rice cauliflower, and then this is 3 ounces of cream cheese that I let soften, and this is about a cup of, I think this is a quesadilla cheese, but whatever kind of cheese you happen to have, whatever kind of cheese you want to use, and then a little bit of heavy whipping cream, and we're just going to blend all of it together, and it makes it light and very fluffy like a mashed potato. All right, y'all, let's try this. Here's the meatloaf all finished. Here's the mashed cauliflower. It is, I love making it in the blender like this. It's so much just like mashed potatoes. It's super smooth. It's really, really good and cheesy. So delicious. So I'm gonna put a base of this down, a piece of this, and then we'll taste. All right, y'all, I am the only person home as I'm making this meatloaf, so I'm gonna taste it. Y'all, this is so good. Oh my gosh, look at that cheesy pull. Oh. I have to clap for myself, y'all. That's so good.
So that's what we got up to this week. I hope you got some ideas or some motivation or even just a laugh. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again next week with another What's for Dinner. Bye, y'all. Be blessed.